Welcome to PMI Manitoba's podcast series, Keeping It Real, where we talk about real stories, project insights, and community success. Here is our episode 7 entitled Project Management, the Art of Managing Teams, with our special guest, Jeff Nordick, Director of the Project Management Office at Polar Banknote, hosted by Julieth Guerrero from PMI Manitoba's New Desk. Welcome to the PMI Manitoba podcast, Keeping It Real. I am Julieth Guerrero, Managing Editor of the Keeping It Real series at the New Desk team. With some years of experience leading teams, I learned that project success is built on relationships and trust, and not just in the final success and metrics. And for that reason, our guest today is Jeff Nordick. We are diving into a topic that looks simple but becomes complex when you are in the real world. The topic is the art of managing people. Welcome, Jeff. How are you today?
Good, Julia. Thanks for having me. Nice to join in.
Before this episode, I reached out to your team to ask what they want to hear from you. And they say, definitely talk about being a people person, a servant leader. And this is powerful because it shows coherence between your leadership style and today's topic. I am curious why people are telling us this, and who is Jeff beyond the resume?
I'm Jeff Nordick. I am Director of Project Management Office at Pollard Bank, and have been in the industry for probably 30 plus years. Live in a small town, small community outside of Winnipeg, living on a property out here with my wife, and married this coming up on 30 years as well. So love being outside, love nature, love working here on our property, and then just enjoying beautiful Manitoba and our wonderful summers and things that we have. So that's a little bit about me. Spent a lot of my career working in the insurance industry, a number of years in non-for-profit, which was very exciting in that space. And since I've been for about 5 years here at Pollard, managing our project management office. I've been managing projects or in the management role for almost 25 years. And in that time, I've worked with a lot of teams and a lot of great people that have really, I think, helped me over the years in hopefully becoming an effective leader and member of our teams.
As I mentioned before, leadership looks like a simple topic. So you can go for a course and you can just get a promotion and being into this big responsibility. However, we would like to explore the human side of these positions. I'd like to ask you, how do you view the human side of your role, especially when it comes to supporting and empowering diverse teams?
I think that's probably the most important part of the role is, and not everybody that's a great technical individual or whatnot makes a great leader all the time. You really have to understand the human side of it and connect with people and work hard at it. It's not something that comes easily. It might come naturally to some, but even if it does, you still have to work hard at it. You need to read, do research, find other people that can be good mentors for you or good examples of leadership and learn from the good, learn from the bad, but really put a lot of work into being a good leader and a good people leader is something that I've found over the years. And sometimes you can kind of forget that, and sometimes you have to go back to it again and challenge yourself to take some time out and develop yourself and learn as well. So I think that's one thing we sometimes forget.
You say sometimes you have to review yourself.
Yeah,
Yes.
maybe, yes.
You have a personal experience that shaped you as a leader and how you show up for your team.
I think looking back at my career, especially early on when I wasn't in a leadership role, there were definitely some people that leaders that I worked for that helped very quickly shape my experience and my perception of what a good leader would be. I think my very first job working for IBM in downtown Winnipeg, we had a leader who was only with us when I was there for about 4 or 5 months until he retired, but he was right on the main floor with us, service techs. He was right in the middle of us, didn't have an office, had a desk in with us, and he was always available, always approachable, cared about his employees, brought me in as a little junior tech and really kind of took me under his wing and showed me the ropes and showed a genuine interest. And his replacement, the first thing he did was had an office, moved it up to 8th or 9th floor of the high rise we were in, and was very disassociated from his staff. Was your typical boss as opposed to a leader. And you could really see those two different styles, and it was very black and white very early on in my career. Those are a couple of great examples, both good and bad. And then when I went to an insurance company in Winnipeg, had a great opportunity to have a couple of great leaders there as well early on. And that really, eventually over the years, spent almost 20 years there, and a couple of them really became mentors for me through my career. And I would say there's some of those individuals early on really helped shape my view of what a really effective leader would be.
That's a great point, because you can decide what kind of leader you can be. What kind of example did you have? I want to follow this example, or I don't want to follow this example, which is a learning as well.
One of the fellows that I reported to, Julieth, that was one of my leaders, somebody I really looked up to, gave me some great advice early on. And he said, the best thing I can do as a leader is hire great people, surround myself with great people that are a lot smarter than I am, give them the tools that they need, create an environment that they can succeed in, and then get the heck out of the way. And that's really that kind of thing, that kind of advice. That's fortunately, the kind of leadership and examples that I was able to have available to me in the first number of years in my career. And it really shaped, I think, who I eventually become as a leader.
Project management today is not just about Gantt charts and KPIs. Everybody's talking about project management, but we are trying to see this trend more about people, purpose, and impact. In your experience, Jeff, what makes team management an art in project management?
Well, it's really changed a lot over the years with technology, a lot of staff working from home. You could be in situations where they're in different locations, even different continents. And we've seen the effect too of COVID and people, working from home a lot, working remotely. Is that the ability to work effectively with people and in all situations remotely and often not face to face anymore has really changed things and has a bit made it more of an art in that respect, I would suggest. I think it's much easier establishing that personal connection with people when you can be face to face and working 8 hours a day, etc., in the same office, and that's the way it used to be. And that's definitely changed and no longer the way it is. So finding a way to connect with people and establish relationships, often like we're doing right now over a computer screen, has made it quite difficult and in some ways made it a bit of an art in that way. That's one thing that I found that's changed a lot over the years.
Yeah, that's true. Looks like with technology, the technical side of the work, we are more focused on the technical side of the work.
I think part as well, Julieth, that makes it a bit of an art too, is that recognizing that we're all very different, right? Is that not everybody on the team thinks the same way, works the same way, has the same styles, interprets things that you might say the same way. So it's definitely an art, and why emotional intelligence and being self-aware and aware of others it is so very key, that you can pick up on different things in a conversation and be able to put yourself in somebody else's shoes, show empathy for a person's situation, appreciate that we all come from a different background, all have different experiences. And again, just doing it now remotely and across, again, different continents, it's challenging. It's also quite exciting. I mean, technology has allowed us to have teams that are far more diverse, and again, around the world. And that was never an option when I started my career and started getting into leadership. That would have been quite unique, and now it's very much commonplace. So I think it's definitely an art when you think now about geography, cultures, and again, technologies and whatnot. It's definitely changed. It's quite exciting, actually.
When I was studying project management, I heard something that changed my perspective on this topic, which is leadership is about soft skills. And I realized soft skills are not soft. Soft skills are hard. And even the harder skills, you mentioned some of them. You mentioned that a good leader is a good listener, is a good communicator, it shows empathy. I like to ask you to talk more about the empathy. How do you see the connection between leadership and empathy?
I think having empathy for somebody's situation is very key. Again, to put yourself in their shoes and to recognize we don't all come from the same place. We don't all come from the same experiences. Our beliefs, our values are all formed by our past experiences, whether they're educational experiences, our parents and how we grew up, or our work experiences. Everybody comes from a different place. And I think we have to recognize that. We don't all think the same way. We don't all operate the same way. But if you can make a focused effort to put yourself into somebody else's shoes and understand where they may be coming from, and where you don't know, ask, build the relationship, build the safe space where you can have those conversations, where you can build that relationship and where you can establish that kind of empathy and whatnot. It's very, very valuable. Again, come back to this. It's an art. It sometimes can be an art.
When we're facing situations in which the leader is dealing between the rush of the results of the operations and between the process of this person in the daily activities, how do you think that we can create a balance between the results, because we need to present results, and the process that this person is facing? It could be a training process, it could be a personal situation, or it could be just life.
It's definitely always a balance when you have tight deadlines and things you need to get done quickly, and versus, when your team might have individual challenges, process challenges, conflicts, etc. And I think we always have to find that balance, is that, yes, we want to achieve results, but we have to watch we're not doing it at a cost. People are human. They're going to have challenges. They're going to have issues at times. So I think just being aware and being able to read the room, or to create an environment where that staff member, that team member can come to you and say, I'm struggling with this. I know we need to get this done, but I might need help, or I might not be clear on something. I think it's really important to make sure that you're creating that environment that people feel safe, that they can come to you and have that discussion, and that you're there to support them, maybe find a different way to get things done. That's very key. I mean, you can't just drive to results at a cost. That doesn't help the team, that doesn't help individuals. Eventually, in the long run, that doesn't pay off. So I think it's really important to be aware of the situation and have that, create that environment that people can go to you as a leader if they're having a challenge or a concern.
With the next question, we have this curiosity. How do you see project managers evolving into people-focused leaders rather than just task managers?
It's so key. And I think over time, that's become an expectation of project managers, of real project managers, is that we're not just driving deadlines. We're not just managing tasks and filling in, timelines and RAID logs and whatnot, is that we're able to be leaders and to be good relationship managers, whether that's with the client or whether that's with the project team or stakeholders or sponsors, is that, we're really kind of the glue that holds things together, that we are able to build cohesive and high-performing teams. I think that's really become an expectation of the project management role. And I think one that as project managers we really should be embracing. It's what can really help add value to the organization, to the customers, etc. Is when we can fill those kinds of roles. That's what really sets us apart and provides value to the organization.
Jeff, what's the biggest misconception people have about managing project teams or PMOs?
I think the biggest misconception people have is that as project managers and as people managing project managers and PMOs, that we're just only focused on the dates. We're focused on the timelines and the schedules and the dates and risk management. And I think that's it's unfortunate. I was in a seminar recently where it was commented that project delivery is all about the dates, and project delivery needs to be more product focused. And I think that good project managers and PMOs are by nature, is that we do always need to focus on the needs of the client and the uniqueness of the client, that we are aware of the products that we're delivering, and the more that we can know about that and learn about that, the better. That we're focused on delivering with excellence, not just on time, but that we're delivering a real quality product that fits what the client needs. And that, core to all of that is that we're building and supporting a really cohesive project team that helps to get all of this done. And that it's just so much more than driving to dates and creating schedules. I kind of think that's almost the easy part of it, right? It's the tough part is building those relationships with clients and internal teams. So I think that's a kind of a misconception that we're just about the dates.
Okay, so if you're a project manager, you are dealing with amazing teams.
Mm-hmm.
You have to leverage all those amazing skills just to create powerful results. So in a world of diverse teams and working styles, who should adopt more? The organization, the PMO, or the individual team members?
I think it's across the board. I don't know you can single out anyone individually. I think as times have changed, we've all had to change, whether it's the organization, and we've touched on some of this already, the fact that we now have more diverse workplaces and working from home arrangements, and we have AI that's come into things, and it's changed so much that the organization definitely has to adapt and change. As leaders and as PMOs, we definitely need to adapt again, the way we've talked about it, but also as individuals, as teams, we do as well. And I think we need to, as individuals, recognize that there's a lot of change and be aware of the fact that we need to always learn. We need to improve our skills, our people skills, our leadership skills, etc. Is that we need to do that as well as individuals. So I don't know that we can single out any one area specifically. I think we have to jointly kind of do this all together.
That's true. We are more adaptable in certain environments. So I agree with you when you say I really like your answer, because the environment has to change to allow us to adapt to the situations. And that's why change management is now more crucial than before, because after COVID, everything is changing in a faster speed, and the awareness with change management is crucial as well as part of the leadership. What do you think about these connections, by the way, leadership and change management?
There's definitely a big, as leaders, we have to be effective managers and champions of change. Without a doubt. I think we have to recognize that change always impacts a lot of people, and it will do it in different ways. So again, this kind of ties everything together a bit, as well as around emotional intelligence or empathy, etc., is understanding that even one simple change can affect different people in ways we don't right away recognize, and it can have a trickle effect. So it's very important as leaders to recognize that the change and the change management, and to engage our teams to also recognize that change and the impact that change may have. I think fostering that within the teams and having that as a continual discussion point, that team members always consider, whether it's customers, whether it's other co-workers, etc., is that any change that we do could have an impact. And again, to recognize that and appreciate that, and to think about it and how we can make changes less impactful for people, and to where folks will embrace that change.
Yeah, embrace the change. It sounds easy, but it's hard.
Not always.
Yeah. Well, our next question is, how do you identify and leverage individual strengths within your team?
Well, I think first is recognize that we're all individuals, and we're all going to have individual strengths. I guess how to first identify is we need to get to know the individuals on our team, build a good relationship with them, understand what makes people tick, what excites people, but also maybe where people are not as comfortable, or where they may not be, they might have some hidden strengths in there, but they're just not comfortable bringing them forward or putting themselves out there into a situation. Again, we all have different personalities, different experiences, different strengths. Some of us might be more comfortable with change or more comfortable with complex, situations or challenges, speaking in front of people or whatnot. And other people aren't, but they bring other things to the table, right? Where they might be very analytical, have very high emotional intelligence, and be able to understand situations and things they're just not as comfortable expressing it. So I think it's really important to understand how all your individuals, again, what makes them tick, and create an environment that they feel safe to bring that forward, and maybe in different ways, I think is key.
Jeff, we discussed before about emotional intelligence, but we have the question here. What role does emotional intelligence play in leading diverse or cross-functional teams in real scenarios?
Everybody's different, right? Different cultures, different everything. We need to recognize that. But I think first key to really successful emotional intelligence in leadership is first being very self-aware of yourself. The type of a personality you have, the type of leader you are, how you are portraying yourself in a certain situation, what kind of vibe you're giving off, how you communicate. I mean, that's all is kind of very key. Is that, if you go into a situation, and I honestly have to watch this myself, as sometimes you get under tight deadlines and under pressure, you walk into a situation or conversation and it's just bang, 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 let's talk about what we need to get done, and let's just get to the point. And that doesn't always work for everybody, right? So, and it's something I need to constantly self-check and work on is not everybody receives that the same way, right? So you have to be, first of all, very self-aware and understand how you are presenting in a certain situation, and that you're creating a space where people feel safe, that they are willing to bring their ideas forward. So I think that's very, very important. First is being very self-aware yourself. And then the other side is being aware of the rest of the project team, and being able to pick up on cues and understand how they might be feeling in a situation, and again, creating that really safe space that allows people to collaborate and to bring their ideas forward. And again, across different cultures, geographies, technologies, etc., it's very, very key. We want to create that space where we encourage collaboration, that people are going to be open to change, to bring their new ideas forward. So it's very important.
Every leader has a signature, a way of showing up that leaves a mark. So what's your personal signature as a leader? Something that your teams always recognize in you?
I think that people would say, my teams would say, and my staff would say that I genuinely care about them as individuals, that I want them to succeed as much as the project succeeding, that I know that, for the project to succeed, we need to succeed as individuals, and that I want to see them grow and learn as individuals, that I'm always open to conversation, and that I create a space for them, that it's okay to fail, it's okay to make mistakes, and that we learn from them and we improve and move on. So I think they would say that hopefully they say I'm a pretty good listener, and that I really am genuinely motivated by their success, and that I'm help them to have success and to grow as individuals and as team members.
How do you believe project managers can best learn soft skills like conflict resolution, empathy, influence?
I'll go back to maybe earlier on in our conversations where I gave that example of a good leader that I had in the past, and about surrounding oneself with good people. I think that's very important and very key. I think we can read books and we can do, take sessions and take seminars, and it's very useful. And sometimes we absolutely need to do that. It flips the brain, gets us into a different mindset, and we invest in our own self-learning. I really think if one surrounds oneself with good people, identify people in your workplace or outside of the workplace that you feel are a good example for you, that can be a leader or a mentor for you, reach out to them, ask for some time, ask for some advice. I really think that the best way that we can learn is from experience and being in situations and identifying people that we can learn from. And not to be afraid to ask, to spend 5 minutes or have a coffee, or maybe even set up a little bit more of a formal mentorship type arrangement. I think that's key. And I think, again, we can read and we can take sessions and seminars, but real life examples and having real life role models, I think, is probably one of the best learning tools that one can have.
What advice would you give to new project managers trying to earn the trust of their teams?
A great question, Julieth. I would say for new managers joining, project managers joining a team, go into that team with an open mindset and don't go in like, you're going to be the leader of the group and run the show and tell everybody how things are going to be. Go in there as a team member, as a coworker, and learn from the team. Recognize that everybody on the team has different experiences. They're all bringing something to the table, and really be a team member along with them. And don't be afraid to show some vulnerability and to say that, hey, I as a project manager, I don't know everything. And there's things about this that, whether it's a technology or a process or the project, that you'd like to learn from other team members. So reach out to them, learn from them, show a genuine interest in what they do. These are such good learning opportunities when you join a new team, to meet new people and to learn new processes, technologies, ways of working, other ways that people work, is again, really get to know the team, build the relationships, and learn. Absolutely. And have some fun. Have some fun with the team, right? Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jeff, for sharing your experience and insights in this episode. And thank you to our PMI audience for tuning into the Keep It Real podcast. We invite you to explore our other episodes. There is a wealth of fascinating topics and inspiring guests waiting for you. Thank you so much, and see you next time.
Thank you.